I've been drunk. I've been pissy drunk, as in I peed on myself drunk. Mm-hmm. I've been extremely drunk before, once, never again.
Do you remember it all?
I remember most of it, but there's a really big chunk missing, and I think it's because I passed out.
Or you were possessed by a spirit. Hi, my name is Donnie and welcome back to my channel. So today I have my good friend Shanyael here. Lovely, beautiful, goddess-like, amazing, good friend. Shanyael, thank you for being on my channel. We're literally just gonna talk. And if it's entertaining, then I'll post it. And if it's not, then you'll never see it. I mean, we've already been talking, but tell the people how you're feeling.
I'm feeling pretty good. I got my second shot today for the COVID vaccine. So my arm's a little sore, but I'm pretty good.
Did you have any effects?
The first time I was fine like the day of, and then the next day I woke up, I just had a headache and I was a little sensitive to light and I just wanted to sleep all day. So, but then the next day, and then my back was sore. You know how when you get sick, like you get a fever and your body aches? That was all. And then the next day, I just still had a little body ache, but then I was fine after that. I think it could be worse.
I guess.
I think it could be worse, personally.
That sounded...
It wasn't that bad. I just literally just laid... I just slept. Which, honestly, as adults, it is hard to, like, see each other. But on my part, like, 95% of the time when somebody wants to hang out with me, I'm in my bed.
So when I had to plan this a month ahead in advance and asked you, because when I said, "Can you do a video with me?" and you were like, "I gotta check my planner."
Well, I mean, yes, I did have to check my planner, but also like I told you yes off the rip, like immediately, like for sure, I definitely can. But you also live far, and part of like the 5% of me determining if I can meet up with somebody is how far the drive is.
That's true. I mean, I'll come to you. Do you have a nice...
Girl, I got a couch. That's it.
Is it a nice couch?
It's very nice. It's a sectional. It's all black.
It's a sectional?
I got it off Amazon for the low.
You got art?
I do. I have my portrait, friends, some stuff that friends have painted me, and I also have one that I bought outside of somebody's yard. Really nice, though.
So we could just record at your house.
We could.
I'll drive to you.
Next time?
Sure.
Okay. I like your aesthetic more, like it's all pulled together here. In my place, you just walk in and it's kind of like, dang, like when'd you move in? Why'd you got no furniture? Type of feel.
I mean, but that's like honestly the best because I had to move. Like the couch is usually there and put together. This is usually over here. Like I had to like move around. So like to be in a bare space is actually ideal.
That's actually what I'm going for though. For my whole apartment, it's like minimalistic.
Oh, are
like,
you
no clutter
into minimalism?
So I'm into K-dramas, and in Korean dramas and Asian dramas in general, they just have really nice minimalistic spaces, and it just makes it look so clean and crisp, and everything has a place, and it's just so comforting.
I think that's Korean in like homes in general. Yeah, because I watch a lot of like Korean vlogs and stuff like that, and I think do you know Sunday Love on YouTube? Oh, she's great. I love Sunday, I know you're watching. But I love Sunday, but she lives in Japan.
Okay.
So but she was on one of the seasons of America's Next Top Model. I don't know if you ever got into that show, but one of the short seasons.
Only the beginning.
Oh, okay, well then yeah, you don't know about Sunday. But she always talks about how in Japan they have like 7 different like trash systems and trash days.
Yeah, which I appreciate.
Yeah. But she says that's why and Japan is obviously not Korea, but it's like the same in Korea. Mm-hmm. But she said that's why she thinks a lot of people are minimalists, because it's a lot, like when you have to throw so much stuff away all the time, like and we have a lot of waste.
When you think about when you move and you have all this extra furniture, and for what? Why? What was the reason? what was, in my Cardi B voice.
But what was the reason?
You just have so much, and then it's like we just carry so much stuff throughout our life. Like, I'm enough to carry. You feel me? Like, I really don't need the extra baggage for real. Physical, spiritual, mentally, whatever it is. I don't need the. So, like, I really go for, like, just low key. Like, I clean out my closet every so often.
Like, give stuff away?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my job, they have a free store connected to it. So, like, my job has a bunch of organizations, and so you can go down to the free store and donate stuff.
Shanyael's rich.
I'm not rich.
Shanyael's rich.
I'm not rich.
Shanyael works a job, has her own apartment, no roommate. Like, she has somebody staying with her right now, but they're not paying rent. Shanyael, rich.
I'm not rich.
You want a rich friend? Hit up Shanyael.
I'm not rich, I swear. I just, so actually this all just happened to me within a year, really. Like think about COVID and like the opportunity.
Shanyael got rich during COVID, I'm sorry.
COVID really like created, we like stimulus checks and stuff. Mm-hmm. So there was like the stimmies coming in. Mm-hmm. And then I was living with family. Mm-hmm. And my family never made me pay rent, okay? They never made me pay for groceries. They never said, I gotta drive you where? Where the gas money at? Like, my family has never asked me for money. Ever.
Okay.
Ever. So
sorry, Shanyael's family is rich now.
No, you might be onto something. But they've never asked me for money, so when I would get these stimulus checks, like I think the first one was like $1,200, probably, or $600, whatever.
No, the last one was
$600. Mm-hmm. Okay, I sent the whole like $1,000 to my savings and pocketed the $200. So I just save money, y'all. I just be saving it. I be storing it like a chipmunk, preparing for winter, and I just be saving money. So I wouldn't consider myself to be rich, but I definitely intend not to struggle in any way or form. And my rent is really high, but my job, like a salary job, with a degree, does pay like a decent amount.
You're saying it makes you rich?
I'm not saying it makes me rich, but it makes me prone to not struggling. Like, I have a very nice apartment, got a balcony, it's real pretty. My gas tank's always full. Like stuff that every day that's kind of trivial for people.
Yeah, like rich people stuff, right?
Rich people have nicer things,
that's
I feel
true.
like. Like if I was rich, I would be at the mall right now. But I'm not rich enough to not care about my...
You wouldn't drive to the mall.
You're right. I would be at some local store right now. But I wouldn't consider myself rich, but like I don't intend to not have money to cover things. Like if somebody hit my car right now, I'm gonna go buy a new car.
A new? You wouldn't just get your...
if I could get it fixed, yeah. But I was thinking like total, your car done, but I'm always prepared. Like I'm always prepared for the worst.
Okay.
And I just save money. I just store it. And I like the look of it, so it's really hard for me to touch it.
Like the look of it in your bank account?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
When the M's, they just stack up. They're just so pretty. And then when you take the money from me, you look at it, you be like, dang, it went down. Can't do that. So I just be stacking. Stacker star, Malik said.
Shanyael, if you're rich, that's all you have to say. That's all you have to say.
No, because I think that if I was rich, like I would be living, you know what? I wouldn't live lavish, like that's a lie. But like I wouldn't, because I was thinking to myself, like if you was rich, you would quit your job and you would travel the world. But I don't think I would do that.
Really? I would definitely do that. And make vlogs out of it and get YouTube famous so that I could continue.
So then you can do both. See, but I don't know because I'm such a low key person.
But
like,
then
if
what
I
would
was
you
rich,
want
I would
do?
Like buy my mama a house.
Okay.
If I could.
No.
Oh, not
fundamentals
that
are fine.
Rich.
No, you're that rich. Fundamentals. You're there, right? Everybody's gonna buy their mom or their dad or whatever. They're gonna either buy their house that they're living in, or someone's getting a house. Everybody's probably getting their dream car, and then everybody's out of debt. Whatever debt you have, you're done.
Yeah, you're right. Those are the basics.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do with your life when you're rich?
I honestly will probably just buy like anything I wanted, which is but like it's weird because I would be like I don't know, I feel like I would be like hood rich. Like you ever know people who live on Section 8 but their house always nice? Like they live on Section 8 but their house is just decked out. You ever lived in one of those neighborhoods before? Because that's me. That's what I'm trying to do. Like, I would
But you
live,
wouldn't qualify for Section 8.
I know, but I'm saying I would live minimalistically and then just have, like...
I don't think so. I think you would travel and then,
I mean,
travel
I think
as a
I
minimalist.
would. Yeah, I think I would try. Like, I'm definitely going back to Europe. I don't have a choice. That's like my home now. That's where I stay.
Okay, explain your like for Europe, because Europe is my last of my option. It's just too much white. It's too much white people,
But it's
white origin, white architecture, white artists, white, like, it's a lot of white history, and I feel like I've learned it. I've had to, it's been forced upon me.
You're right.
In my lifetime. And not to say it's not beautiful, but I feel like I'm definitely, like, I'm more so interested in Bali for sure, Africa for sure, Japan, Korea, like those places. I feel like, even, I know Europe is its own culture, but I feel like, it's just white people.
Well, okay, so, I've never been to, like, those places, but Georgia has been to a lot of those. Georgia stay.
Georgia.
Shout out to Georgia.
What is she doing? Last time I talked to her, she was in still taking classes, but even before she, like, was done, I don't know if she's done now.
She was still traveling.
Yeah, so what the hell?
She's just being African and fabulous, I think. That's her occupation.
I think was her dad...
Her dad is in Ghana.
Yeah, is he rich there and sending money?
He could be. I don't know. We got Georgia. How'd she do that?
True.
But
Georgia's
whenever
on the podcast now.
You know what? Yeah, put Georgia on. But every time I used to see her, I used to be like, wow, like that's beautiful. Like I want to go there someday. But my overseas experience is Europe, so I understand exactly what you're saying. Like with everything being white, but it's such a different white over there. So when I stayed in the castle, we stayed in the countryside of the Netherlands, so there was no black people. And there were 2 black people that we did see, and one of them actually had an afro, and I was shooketh. And they were looking at us, and we were looking at them, and it was just like, oh my God, black people. And we were both shook. Like, neither one of us knew, like, how to interact with each other, because it was just like, I never see brown people here. And it was like, well, you're our first brown person that we've seen.
I don't want that experience. I want brown people everywhere, no matter where I'm going.
But it's still, so like, the meaning of, like, it's a different white is that people don't, the white gaze in America is extremely different from the white gaze in Europe. Because white Americans look at you like, what are you doing here?
White Americans?
Yeah.
Look at us. Look at us. Like,
yeah, the white gaze here is different. It's just like, what are you doing here? What you still in? Because America's like spawned out of racism. And that's not to say that Europe isn't, but the sentiment is different. Like, people like James Baldwin and Richard Wright were fleeing to Paris. Like, black, when you think about the Harlem Renaissance, there were a lot of people who were like, I'm packing my things and I'm going to Europe. I'm going to Paris. I'm going to where people are free.
Britain folk. What is it called? What is it? Where is that? Britain?
What about Britain?
Is that the country? Britain.
Is that what it's called?
Britain.
Yes.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
That's in Europe or no? That's different.
That's in Europe.
I'm not good at geography.
Me either.
Period.
So sorry.
Okay, but listen, I was listening to because there's a debate between like about British black actors getting Black American roles.
Yeah.
And I was listening to some British actor talk about why that was happening, and he was saying that the difference between Britain.
The Black Brit experience.
Okay, yeah. In America is that America's racism is in your face. They're not trying to hide it. They're going to typecast you, but you're going to get a job. But in Britain, it's low key, but it's very much still there.
Yeah, they call it subtle racism.
Yeah. So like, is that the kind of race, like?
I guess it depends on where you go, because first of all, there was a lady that sold popsicles like up the street, and you can't, like, you ride a bike everywhere, and like we had a groundskeeper, his name was Hubert, and he kept the grounds, and
as groundkeepers
as expected of him. But he because it's a program through Emerson, which is a college in Boston, and all that great stuff. And when we left, or I think even before we left, I can't remember, but he kind of like came to us, or he came through somebody else. I can't remember how I heard about it, but he was basically like talking about how respectful we were and how kind we were. And white Americans feel so entitled. And so he had some experience where people were treating him like dirt. because he was just a groundskeeper, you know. And then we came over and he was like, you guys are so sweet, like you guys are so kind and nice. And so for me, like, that was even an experience. Like, you didn't come with the expectancy of us being niggas, like, to be frank. And there was a lady who sold popsicles. And, like, she would give us popsicles for free. She'd be like, try this flavor, try this flavor. Like, she had just opened up the business. And her popsicles had, like, real fruit in them. And they had, like, cool names and stuff. And she would just be like, hey, like, come try this one. She had a big old dog. And then we started calling her grandma. And that was our grandma for the summer. And she loved it. She would give us hugs. She's Dutch.
To me, anything
that is
pale skin is white.
So, yeah, you know, she's white. But that was, like, our experience in Well. Like, there was a store called the Everything Store. Like, you're not racially profiled in that store. Nobody follows you. Nobody, you know, like, there are 2 women who work it, and they don't fear for their lives. And you can't see fear.
But there are places like that in America.
Yeah, there are. There definitely are places like that in America. But in Europe, it's just, like, I don't know. And everything just makes sense there, too. But that's only Europe. You know, like, if I had went to Asia, I'm sure everything would have made sense there, too. Because I feel like everything makes sense outside of America.
Yeah, America is literally meant to...
America is literally a garbage can.
It's the ghetto.
It's the ghetto.
It's the ghetto.
Like Earth is ghetto, but it's really America that is the projects.
Yes.
Like, it's
the slums.
Okay. It's terrible. But Europe is just, like, you have to just kind of go for yourself, I think. But, like, Paris
I'd go. It's just last on the list.
I feel it.
Absolutely
Paris is...
last.
But you like, so we talk about subtle racism. Like, in Amsterdam, there's subtle racism.
Amsterdam?
Yeah, because they refuse to accept their role in slavery. There are a lot of Amsterdam... Like, you've never heard of Zwarte Piet? Black Pete. So they have this caricature that's, like, to the side of Santa, and he's, like, black, and everybody calls him Black Pete, and they say he's that color because he came down the chimney. That's not the part that behooved me. What behooved me was, during Christmas time, people do blackface.
Oh.
They do blackface as Black Pete. And a lot of people who live in Amsterdam, and a lot of people who this is their culture and how they grew up, they can't see anything wrong with it. And they say, and some part of the argument, when we went on tours and stuff, they were saying that people were having Black people work for them, like, in their basements. So they were avoiding the term of slavery as a whole and saying, like, you know, we didn't really play as much of a part in that as America. Like, you know, like, it wasn't really us type of deal.
What was Amsterdam a really big part of it? Like, I have education. I am of the educated people. However, I am not anywhere near a scholar.
And neither am I, disclaimer. But I think they did. I mean, I think anybody who does did. You know what I mean? Like, in any case, if there were slaves on your land and
No, I'm just saying, like, do most people in the slavery realm that I just haven't heard when they talk about slavery, like, you know, Amsterdam actually played a really huge part in the
Oh, I don't know if it's that big, to be honest, but I just know that it exists. It existed. But it's really strange because in Amsterdam there's that story. And actually one of my closest friends that I went with, Maddie B, he actually has an EP, a little album called Global Citizen, where he does a song for every single place we went. And his song for Amsterdam was they try to hide their history. Like, there's a lot of just, like, kind of, what, hand me that broom, let me brush that under wood, happening in Amsterdam, like, just gonna sweep it under. So I'm not really sure if it was a big row, but I know that there was just some things that, like, and I mean, but the same thing's in Paris. Because they treat African Americans, we're Americans. They dropped the African.
Yeah. I know
but
that.
Africans in Paris are treated like African Americans in America.
Oh.
So then, if you do choose, we met people who, what do they call them? What's the word? When you move to a
immigrant?
No. It's cooler than that. Nope, it's cooler than that. It's like you choose. It's like dual citizenship, but there's a specific word, an expatriate. You're an expatriate. That's what it's called.
I was gonna tell you, but I just thought it'd be better if you figured it out.
And it's an expatriate, and we met some of those people who had moved to Paris and were living there officially. And there was a woman who was basically, no, there was a man. He came over to Paris to like pursue his fashion dreams. He's really dope, amazing guy. And he was talking about the struggle of choosing. If you were going to move to Paris and be American, just be American, or were you going to stick up for other people in a space where like other people were being treated differently and discriminated against and confronting everyday racism. So he was staying with like a host family, and he invited a friend over, and they like literally used a derogatory term to describe his African friend. But he's just American. You know, so then you have to make a choice. Like, am I still going to be power to the people here? Or am I going to be just American because it's cooler and it's easier and nobody gives me problems? People see you in Europe and they go, oh my God, you're from America? Like, that is so cool. Like, oh my God, I want to get to live. Yeah.
I thought they couldn't stand us.
It probably has changed. It probably has changed since 45. But I think, like, prior to that, and even, like, when we go, like, people just kind of look at you like, oh, you're American. That's dope. That's dope. But I think it has changed. Because I remember we went to the embassy? Is it the embassy? I don't know. It's a government building. It's a fire government building. Everybody got one. And there was a statue or a picture of 45 in there. And the guy, our tour guide, he was like, I can't wait till he gets out of office so we can take that down. So probably not that much now, but there was a time when if you were American, like you could go overseas and people would just be like, oh, I want to hear you talk. Some shit. But like, it's lit. Like the black culture, specifically in Paris, like there's definitely, when we talk about like culture appropriation and culture appreciation, like white people could go to Paris and try to play jazz and they would put them out. They'd be like, this ain't it. You not that. And then black people would come over, they'd be like, come on in. Like, play your music. Because that's what we want. That's what we love. So while people were being kicked out of America and, you know, having jazz be called the devil's music and all this other stuff, in Paris, they're like, bro, play the song. We want to hear it. Turn it up. You know, and it's just a different vibe there. Honestly. I mean, even I went to a club in Paris and it was just like, wow, this is amazing.
Not a fan. My mom's dream vacation though is Paris. A lot of people's dream vacation is
Paris. Yeah,
but my mom, for some reason that surprised me. But then I was like, I guess it's not surprising. I feel like my mom is into a lot of, I don't know what to say, if it's white culture, but like I think I noticed it because like I noticed what I'm into, and some stuff I watch or do because it's nostalgic for me now because I did it with my mom. But like my mom is really into, do you know the show Columbo?
It sounds really familiar, but I don't think so.
It's a really it's not that old, but I think it's set in like maybe late 50s, early 60s.
Is it in black and white?
Okay. But it's like in very like new color. Like it's like when color seems like first came out. Like it's very film like you know, film photography. It like looks like that kind of. But it's interesting that and I like it, but I mostly like it because she liked it. But it's like set in a time, it's about this like quirky detective, and I think it was like an HBO special, and it's always 2 hours or so long. And it's about, you see the crime happen, and then you see Columbo meet the people who did the crime. You know, they don't know that, you know, he's quirky, but he's like on top of shit. Like he's gonna figure it out no matter what. But he's like quirky. He's like, I don't know. I lost my life. Like he's quirky detective guy. But it's kind of in this like Renaissance age where like a lot of the crimes are in these like upper echelon white neighborhoods, and you see that the only roles that are for black actors are the maid, the butler, the driver, stuff like that. Like I haven't seen I've seen it, I've watched it, but I don't think I've ever seen, maybe a police officer is probably like the highest status that I've seen a person of color be. And like as a person that like knows about our history, I'm like wondering like what my mom sees in that. But my mom also really likes Mariah Carey, who's like not white, but she's like kind of this really.
She's white presenting.
Yeah, like she could pass.
She
for
could
white.
pass. Yeah.
And she like when she talks about just like certain people, or a celebrity or anything about who she really likes. Who's that? You're not gonna know. Not Jennifer Garner, but it's like an older Aubrey Hepburn. Aubrey Hepburn. She'll be like, yeah, she's fat, like she. That's the kind of. And I'm like,
I know exactly what she looks like, but I've never seen anything with her in it.
I don't know.
And
what
I
my
know
mom
she's
is
famous. Like I know she's mad famous, but
yeah. And I'm like, it's interesting to view what my mom is into as an adult, because as for me, I'd be trying to like unwhite so bad. Like I'd be like, I love anime, I love all that, and they don't have like a race, but like Naruto or just like
I just finished that.
I just started watching it again.
Oh, you watched rewatching it.
I watch it again every few years.
I respect it. It's a really good show.
It is, but Naruto, like, anime's not supposed to have a race. Like, when that's like the thing. Like, it's not. It's Japanese, like, art origin or whatever usually, but a lot of like artists or creators, like when they're interviewed, they'll tell you there is no racial orientation to this character. But a lot of them look white. A lot of them don't even look Japanese. Like, they look white. Yeah. So I'll be wanting like anime in my house, but then I have a complex about it. Like, I don't want no white faces all up on my walls and whatnot. But like, I love anime. There's no reason for me to be like that. And and there's just like stuff that like I'm super hyper conscious about, like, because there's not often black images that I want up, like in terms of that I can see freely and be like, ooh, I want that. And I don't know if that's just because of like what I surround myself with or like how I grew up or whatever, but I think it's interesting to see that trickle down effect of.
That is really interesting.
Trickle down. I think I said triple down.
The trickle effect. Yeah, that's really actually. But I mean, I think it could play a really big role in how you like grew up and things. Mm-hmm. I think that could be like a good explanation. And I remember coming to Centennial and being shell shocked because
I don't know why you keep leaning. This is a crate.
But I like it. I like it. Oh,
I know your arm hurts.
It does. But it's not bad. Like, I don't know. It's not the worst thing. But coming to Centennial, I was really shell shocked. Like. Because there were so many white people.
Really?
Yeah. And I went to Franklinton, which is the West Side. You feel me? But every white person on the West Side is black. Like, let's be honest. You feel me? So I've always been surrounded by. Went?
Never mind.
Mark? I have no clue. That was my dog, though.
I think about him from time to time.
He be on my Snapchat sometimes, but that's all. But basically, you know, when you go on the West Side school, like everybody's pretty much. Everybody black, for real. Like, y'all all come from the same background. Mm-hmm. Like, all of y'all is really some black people kind of left by the wayside, in a sense, is what it feels like. And then when I got to middle school, it was the same thing. I was staying on the West Side, so everybody was black. We all was just lumped in together, just being black, kind of. And then I got to Centennial, and that was my first encounter of white people, as far as, like, being in the school setting, classroom goes.
I wasn't shell-shocked because I went to
Indianola.
Yeah.
I forgot that was your school.
Indianola Informal K-8 Alternative. So, like, white people being the majority was nothing new.
Oh, see, it was completely new for me. Because we all was black, so it just felt like we didn't have no... You feel me? Like, we all was...
That just looked like you.
We all was right here. So I had thought that, like, you always knew, like, a good amount of, or had always been surrounded by.
No, white people just love me.
That's true, too.
Yeah, my mom pointed that out. She was like, I don't know why, but white people love you. And I thought about it, and I was like, it's true.
It's true.
It's true. And I think it's because my mother took the time to raise me around white stuff.
And that's why, that might be exactly why, like, you see blackness now. And, like, brown faces and brown people.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, I mean, so when I was little, I had a heavy colorist experience.
Oh.
So, like, my sister my sister is lighter toned, and I'm brown. Well, I mean, she's brown too, but you know what I mean. And so she's a light brown. So growing up, I always had this experience of me feeling like a lot of stuff came down to my color, and I had to deal with that for a very, very, very long time. Like even in church settings. Like, I mean, I wasn't the best kid. Like, you know, I had my shortcomings and stuff, and I compared to my sister, I wasn't the best behaved. And I also didn't have a filter when I was a kid. So I would just say stuff to people, like, you know, if there was a big person, I would be like, hey, like, why are you fat? Like, I want to know.
I want to know what's going on here.
I just want to know. Because I've never seen a person your size before.
Listen.
And I could be like 4 or 5 or, 3 or 4 or 6. And I would just ask people these questions, and people did not.
I would want a kid like that.
People did not appreciate that. Don't raise your kids to speak their minds, because people will shun you.
Please.
They will shun you.
I mean, kids are mean regardless, but like if my kid was like, why are you fat? And it was to a stranger, I would look at them like,
yeah, so this particular person was very close with my aunt. It was the guy she was dating at the time. And I would just kind of bug him because I just wanted to know.
All he had to do was tell you.
All he had to do was tell me. He never
food.
told me. He thought I was joking, but that's a whole nother different conversation about how adults think that children don't deserve answers.
It's true.
But there was a lady that was extremely mean in the church. Extremely mean, extremely spiteful. And I just would ask her, like, what you got an attitude about? Why are you mad?
6-year-old shit,
what's going on? You know, I sit next to her in church like, you having a bad day?
Pulls out notepad.
Tell me. You want to talk about it? So like growing up, that was kind of my experience. So I was brown, and all the narrative of any story is that black is bad. Or as Janelle Monáe says, the color black means it's time to die.
You listen to Janelle
and no
Monáe.
one questions why. That's from way back in the day, of course.
Of course.
I started listening to Janelle in high school.
You know, my girlfriend loves Janae Aiko, but do you know Kim on Stage?
Yeah, I'm trying to subscribe to his streaming.
Do you listen to his podcast?
No, I should though.
Janae Aiko blocked him on everything. And it's like a running, they bring it up every other episode about why Janae Aiko blocked him. He's like, I didn't do anything. And then he was like, well, the only thing I said was that I listened to her album and it sounded like one long song. And I was...
That's what people say about the baby, though. That all his music is just...
Oh, no. Don't disrespect the baby. That's
what people say about him.
I love the baby.
Which brings me to that girl. Which brings me back to this conversation.
Oh, great.
Real quick. So, basically, boom. I was brown. I was bad. My sister, she was light. She was good. But she was bad. So, like, in private, in a lot of our spaces and stuff, I felt like I did wrong by my sister. And I thought that people always believed her over me because she was light. Like, was good. And it wasn't until, bro, I'll tell you when the tables turn. I was at church and I had to read an Easter script. But I had to memorize it. And my sister couldn't get through it. And she skipped. And then, she couldn't remember. And I got up there and I did it. And everybody was like, oh, this bitch a poet. Clap it up. And it was from then that people was like, oh, you're not degenerate. Like,
you're not a demon.
That's how, I feel like, and that's when I feel like there was I felt the energy kind of shift a little bit, but I still dealt with it coming up in school and stuff because people started to see like, oh, you talk like that. You can remember stuff like that. You educated like that. You can retain information like that. And then people kind of started to see me. And then I kind of low-key became a token just a little bit.
I was a token in middle school.
Yeah, like church people were like, do a poem for this event. Do a poem for this event. And I was like, Because, bro, when you do something in church, everybody be like, it's your gift. God gave it to you. You got to use it. It's like, I just like to write a poem. That's it. Like, it's nothing really major. But still in school spaces and stuff, people will always say, it used to start out, why are you dark and she's light? Which was easy to explain. We have different dads. But then it kind of progressed like through the years as to why are you ugly and why is she pretty?
Really?
So then I had to deal with like just growing up and like trying to understand and be really forgiving about how my sister didn't, because there's a whole light skin struggle too. Like, my sister didn't ask to come out the womb and be this complexion.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? And then everybody is against her because there can only be one light-skinned person in the room. I don't know if it's like that now, but when I was a kid, there can only be one.
Really?
There can only be one light-skinned girl on the block. You feel me? They both can't be bad. One of them got to come in second.
Really?
So, my sister used to rock with girls all the time. Solely off the basis, you feel me? They didn't have no other reason to like each other, but that they was light-skinned. On God, I swear to you. They used to just stare at my sister all day. And be like, "Oh, you light-skinned. I'm light-skinned. There can only be one." That's how I perceived it. Just jealousy. And a lot of people are jealous and they fetishize, light-skinned people. And light-skinned people, I don't think they asked for that. You feel me? They just came out the womb and existed. But I had to come to terms with this when that girl that dated the baby dropped that song.
Oh, yeah.
And that's my story about colorism.
First of all, that song was trash.
What's it called?
I don't even remember. I listened to it after listening to the Kev on Stage podcast because they was talking about it.
Of course.
And I was like, I what's her name?
Danny Lee.
I like that one song that she has.
That one, that's the only one I know.
I think, but I like.
Take some time.
Yeah, but I like the acoustic version.
Acoustic version.
Yeah.
The little beat and all that.
Yeah, like it's like her voice on that is really nice.
I think she has a nice voice.
Yeah, and apparently she can dance. She's like a dancer, like a legit dancer. But when I listened to the song, I was like, first of all, why are y'all even mad? The song's trash. I could see if she was dropping some bars, if she was dropping some heat, and then
y'all all burned up. Like,
yeah,
that was different.
Yeah, but like she literally sounds ridiculous. The song sounds ridiculous, and then everybody attacked her, and I was like, I mean, that's what you get, but like, how y'all let her ruin y'all day like that? Like,
yeah, that was the thing for me. There was such an outpour, but it reminded me very heavily of, I don't know if you remember, H&M dropped an ad
with the boy,
with the kids. No, that was a whole nother different. That one was kind of recent, but there were kids because that was the gorilla one.
Mm-hmm.
There was one where kids were playing, and they took a picture of the kids after they played, mm-hmm. like in their clothes. Mm-hmm. And so there were multiple kids of different races, and mm-hmm. they all looked like they had just played. There mm-hmm. was some, like a little Asian baby, mm-hmm. her edges was sweating, so they was laid down. Mm-hmm. But there was a little African baby, or she was African American, she was black. Mm-hmm. Her edges weren't laid down. And she had a ponytail, so it was frayed, and people were like, why would they do this baby like that? Why they got her looking like that in the shoot? And it was sheer colorism. And because it was a disregard to, like, the texture of her hair. Like, that's what, and I felt some type of way. I was offended by the black community. Like, do y'all know that when I play on the playground, my edges don't lay down? That's not what my edges are made of. Like, it's just cotton balls over here. Pop rocks. I call them pop rocks. Like, my hair doesn't lay down and all pretty when it shrivels up. It gets nappy. Like, that's the natural state of my hair. And these, like, and then we talk about, like, so basically the conversation, there was, like, a black side, like, do some of that baby's hair. And then there was the other black side, like, that is that baby's hair. Mm-hmm. And then the conversation about 3A hair and 3C and mm-hmm. this, curly, which is only on the head of mostly intermixed, biracial kids. Mm-hmm. And so it was a whole conversation about colorism again. And black people really love to pull the colorism card, but, like, it's contradictory in some ways. Like, it's really complicated. I just think of Kendrick Lamar's 2016 album, How to Pimp a Butterfly, where he talks about complexion and how he felt guilty for dating a woman who was light-skinned, whose name evidently is Whitney. And because in the song he says Wit, which is like the nickname for his girl. Mm-hmm. I hope I'm not getting this wrong, but as far as I remember, he was dating a woman named Whitney, and mm-hmm. I might have read this on Genius, so it could be totally invalid. But he said, "Wit told me, woman is woman, love the creation. It all came from God." And he's talking about complexion and, like, just all these different things, and it's just like complexion is really, like, our worst enemy because we never see both sides. Mm. Like, light-skinned people don't ask to be light-skinned, and just because light-skinned people are light-skinned, it doesn't mean that they dislike, like, brown people. So, like, when she came out with this song, I was like, damn, like, it is kind of insensitive, but damn, like, it's who she is. Like, I couldn't get a firm stance on it. Like, she is a red bone. That might be what he want.
But I think hold on, before I comment, let me make sure. I'm gonna get, okay, we got 11 minutes. Set your timer.
I forgot I was wearing this watch.
Actually, set it to 10 minutes, so I can just record again.
10 minutes. Start it.
Excellent. With your fancy Apple Watch, because you're rich.
You.
I think the issue with her red bone is what he wants is that, like, that's like a problem that is in the Black community. Black men championing light-skinned women
and his baby brown.
Yeah. So it's like, it kind of, not only does it like perpetuate the fetishization of light skin or lighter skin or anything like that, and stuff like that. It implies that it's better than brown skin, which it might not, like, if this was a neutral context, but in terms of the history of, like, Black women, the Black community, especially dark-skinned men and dating lighter women and white women and stuff like that, and literally talking down to dark-skinned women, saying you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl, not just
the
pretty.
paper bag, and the test and
all that stuff. I think that's where the uproar comes from, because it ignore, like, also she's participating in a lot of like, I don't know if she's mixed or not. I don't keep up with the new people that much, like, but I've seen her and she's very light skinned. She is quite literally a red bone. I don't know if she's white and Black. I don't know if she just has two light skinned parents. I don't know if I don't know what's happening, but she's very much so engulfed in this culture, like Black culture, doing Black music, and she probably has fans of all different shades. Yeah, that's true. So when you make a song that excludes a whole type of person, and given our history and the context of it, it's kind of like, well, damn, like,
it is a punch in the stomach.
I mean, it wouldn't ruin my day, because she's
that didn't want to ruin my day either, and I guess that's the thing, is that I found a way to, like, get over it. Mm-hmm. Like, I saw it and I was like, damn, that's fucked up.
Yeah, same.
Well, let me see what I mean for dinner.
Yeah,
I just didn't expect it to, like, be as big, but I understand if there were people that were, like, fans of her, people who expected better of her, which is usually the Twitter uproar anyway.
Twitter's gonna be mad anyway, though. Like, I don't even have a Twitter, but
Twitter's always mad. There's always angry people on there. Mm-hmm. I'm not on anything for that sole reason. I think
anything.
I'm on Snapchat.
Yeah, you're not on anything.
I'm not on anything. On Tumblr, I visit Tumblr like once a month.
Tumblr's getting littered with ads these days.
Yes, you have a lot of ads. It's really sad.
Yeah, pretty sad.
I really just go to my own posts and look at the stuff that I block, because it's funny as hell. There's funny stuff on there. It makes me feel good if I'm having like a really bad day.
That brings me to your earlier statement about being an undercover narcissist.
Being a closeted narcissist?
Yeah. What is
closet narcissism?
Yeah.
I'm also
is
a
that
closet.
A term?
No, I just made it up.
Oh, okay.
I'm also a closet romantic.
Closet romantic? Mm-hmm. You don't think you're freely romantic?
Because I'm toxic.
You're toxic? Uh-huh. Since when?
Girl, I've always been toxic.
You have?
See, but I'm a Libra. Okay? All you Libras out there who have no morality, you're not a Libra. Stop claiming it.
Who have no morality?
Bro, Libras operate on morals. Why else?
But then how can you be toxic?
Exactly. So I'm toxic, but just not, like, outwardly. Or actually, I have been outwardly toxic, but I've made a decision to not perpetuate that toxicity anymore, if that makes sense. Okay. So, like, I've been very toxic in, like, relationships and shit, but, like, I've made, like, a kind of a resolve based on my morality, like, how I treat other people and the shit I do and how wrong it is. I've decided, like, I would have to seek, like, therapy or something to, like, fix myself before I can proceed into another relationship. I don't want to be in another relationship, too, though. Like, I just want to, like, die alone. Which sounds really sad, but I swear it's not sad. So, yeah. But at the same time, I really love Asian dramas, which are, like, you could have an Asian drama about murder and it's still gonna be romance in it. Like, I'm a stickler for, like, romance. It's really complicated.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like, I'm toxic as hell.
I guess that makes sense in terms of I've been seeing a lot of like TikToks regarding Libras and how like toxic they are. But then
but some Libras, and that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. All you Libras out there, you feel me? There are a lot of Libras who are toxic and have no morality, so they continue. And y'all know y'all can. I'm looking at you, Libra. They can continue to perpetuate the hurt that they put on people because they have the power to. Because we're really are romantics, like usually like outwardly, like we could really finesse, like we could really take your bitch. But it's like for most Libras, that's the truth. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, they could just delve in and out of people's lives if they wanted to, or they could just use the same person if they wanted to. It's in them. But a lot of Libras, like, I have like a lot of morality. So like if I like hurt somebody, or if I know something about myself and I know that it puts someone, this is the thing. A lot of Libras, in my personal opinion, are selfish at other people's expense.
I'm air, fire.
Yeah, we're air.
Okay.
I think yeah, we are, because I like to think of myself as Aang from Avatar, because he's also air, so I like to think he's a Libra.
No.
No. I think Aang's a Libra. I mean, come on.
Absolutely not.
Peace, justice.
First of all,
he didn't take that man's powers. He let him live. That's a Libra right there. That's mercy.
No. If anything, Aang's a Cancer.
I won't argue with that. I don't know a lot of Cancers, but all the Cancers I do know, peak people.
No, very sensitive, whiny.
Is he whiny though?
What do you remember? No. Do you remember when I just watched it not too long ago? Do you remember when Katara? He was all upset about Katara. I was like, if
which
someone
episode when he was on Island? When he was on when he was trying to get her attention and he was taking pictures as well.
Yes, it was that and another one. Like it was like one. And when he was upset about Appa, like I understand. I understand it's Appa.
That's his lifelong companion.
No. This boy, he had attitude. Like that was gonna solve it.
But he had the right to be emotional about something that he's extremely attached to and cares about.
Yes, you could cry about it, be upset about it. No. He was so annoying.
When the show started out, who was in the iceberg with him? Who was it?
It was Abba.
That's his road dog. You can't say.
But then
it don't work.
No, it works. He was annoying. He was so.
I think he was well balanced.
Absolutely not. And did you see? Don't get me started on what's her name.
Who?
Zora. Did you watch the new one?
Zora. Oh, you
Korra.
mean Korra?
Korra. What's that child's name?
Her name is Korra.
Korra.
I watched it. Now she's outrageous.
She was even more annoying.
She's not a Libra. I barely got through that show because
she's definitely a fire sign. Maybe Scorpio.
Ooh, that would make sense because I don't care for Scorpio women. So she could have been a Scorpio. No offense to all you Scorpio out there, but all women that I meet are Scorpios, have the same air about them. Fire. I don't really do too good with fire. I'll be trying to blow it out. That's why. Because I'm air. So like, cool down.
But the air makes fire go higher. That makes sense.
See?
That makes sense. But yeah, I have a very interesting relationship with a Scorpio. So I want to test that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just been, you know, how you have one experience and it just continues to be the experience. So then you just assume that's the experience. Yeah. That was my relationship with Scorpio.
Yeah, even Scorpio men are not the best.
I just know Trey Songz, and I don't even know him. So
he's a Scorpio man?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, basically, Libras. Whether Aang is a Libra or not, we'll never know. But
definitely not. I bet we could Google his birthday.
We could find out when he was born.
And I 100% do not believe
I think he's
Aang was a Libra.
He could be a Sagittarius.
What are the other air signs?
I don't know. I'm not that good.
Because I feel like I remember there was an argument when I was in college. Person I was dating at the time, and our friend. We were like doing, you know how you do the thing with your friends where you go back to like cartoons. Who would you be? You would be this. You would be that. We were doing Avatar, and I was like, I'm the Avatar. And Tyree always agreed with what I was saying. Like, yeah, she's the Avatar. And then the person I was dating, I think got Katara.
Oh.
And was upset about it. But it's the truth. They were Katara. And I'm like...
What'd they put you as?
They put me as Avatar because I said I was Avatar.
Oh.
And no one could detest.
No one denied that?
There was no...
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I would put you at Toph.
But I think that we were doing it like pre-Toph.
Oh, before she entered the season.
But actually, I think November was Toph. I don't know.
That's a cute name.
It was the name that November got from his ex. It wasn't his real name.
Oh. I know some people like that. Amazing.
That's a name?
Mm-hmm.
That they got from their ex?
No. I don't know where she got it from. But when I met her in college, she was like, my name is Amazing. Didn't know it wasn't her real name until 4 years later. I still call her Amazing.
Was she amazing?
She was amazing.
Okay.
She was. She was awesome.
Okay. Alright, last thing we're going to talk about. Just because you brought it up earlier. Oh, is this a whole nother episode? Korean?
Might be.
Might be. But who knows when I'll get another episode in with your schedule. Yeah, we'll see. Because I feel like that's like a whole hour.
Possibly.
Like at least 45 minutes though.
45 minutes for sure.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Unless you want to talk about like how babies are overrated, but that's it. That's all I got.
Babies are overrated in the sense of what?
They're just overrated. Like people should just stop having babies.
But that's kind of happening though.
That's good. keep it up.
That's good. Good work. Well, I guess that's it. That conversation.
Nips closed in bed.
Great. Well, this was lovely. This was fantastic. Thank you for traveling 35 minutes plus to be here with me. I really appreciate it.
It was an interesting drive. Because you know I don't drive.
Oh.
So I'll be having to remind myself that I'm driving. I'll be trying to look at the scenery. I didn't know where I was until I passed Ritzy's. I was like, oh, I know where I am.
Oh.
So I'll be looking around like, where am I?
Where did you didn't get on the freeway at all. Right. That's what you meant by my relationship with the freeway.
I only take one freeway.
I thought you meant you were going to take the freeway but go slow on the freeway.
See, going back and go on the freeway if I go fast.
But I feel like more accidents happen not on the freeway. Because of traffic lights, people not
totally, yeah, I could see that. Because it was some fugazi stuff happening on the road today, but yeah. One day I'm going to get on the freeway. Maybe I'll take you when I go home. Maybe not.
I don't think you will.
I don't think I will either.
But the fact that you had the thought, that's what counts.
I think about it when I'm driving. I'll be like, I should get on the freeway. Do I do it?
I mean, driving for real is a whole scam, to be honest. Driving in general.
Bro, adulting is a whole scam.
Adulting
is really
a scam.
Brings us full circle.
Adulting is a scam. Don't do it.
It's not a joke. When they say don't grow up, it's serious.
They were quite serious.
Like, really listen. Don't grow up.
I mean, if you have that option, please.
Don't do it, bro. Just don't do it. You want to get out your parents' house? Don't do it, bro. Buy you a she shed from Lowe's. And live in their backyard. Don't leave the house.
Yeah. Don't do it. Get you one of them. People been buying those vans. That van life.
I have a friend who does that.
Get you a van.
She on the beach somewhere in her van house.
Mm-hmm. Park it right in their backyard.
Living it up.
As soon as you need some food, it's not stealing when you at your parents' house. It's not stealing.
Don't count.
Get you a little
sandwich or something.
Yeah.
And just don't leave, y'all. We're serious. It's not. This is a PSA. Don't grow up.
Ghetto. Growing up is ghetto.
Section 8, all that. Potholes.
Potholes. Bills.
All that. Trash piled up on the sidewalk. Y'all.
Other adults.
It ain't it.
That's the thing. You can't control how other people are raised. That is the thing. Some people did not get a whooping when they were little, and it shows. It shows. I'm not saying beat your kids. I'm just saying I can tell when you don't.
And when you an adult, you can't just get the whooping on people because they don't know how to act, like, you gonna go to jail.
Yeah, you get charges unless you're in Hawaii.
You could do that in Hawaii.
Hawaii, that's like a common. That's like how they figure out stuff, like bar fights and stuff. They'll be like, I'm not gonna imitate a Hawaiian accent, but they'll be like, come outside, brother. And it's like, and they like throw down, and like that literally they like throw down, and then they are like, all right, once somebody is like knocked out, like, I'm done, I'm good. It's like, okay, you want to beat, like, it's like that's how they
settle it.
Yeah,
that's smart. I like that personally. Yeah. I also like, do you know in Asia, like, they de-escalate by wrapping, like, if you're drunk and you're belligerent, they wrap you up in a burrito. Like, they get, like, a, like, mattress out of sorts, and they roll you in it. And they be like, bro, sit there, think about your actions. Bro, you drunk. This is a bed. You just lay in it. Or sometimes, they might have to put you down. I learned that from Tumblr. And they roll you up. A little mattress.
How do they do that, though?
They put you down. And then they roll you up.
How do they put you down?
Well, I mean, it could, like, if it takes force. But I imagine, you feel me, nobody in Asia. I imagine that the cop brutality there is near non-existent.
Well, yeah, they can't carry guns.
Well, I mean, yeah, but also there's a lot of, like, respect for hierarchy.
That's true.
And they really do respect, like, service workers and stuff. So I'm assuming if you're coming out drunk from a bar and a cop's like, hey, get in the burrito. The guy's like, okay.
But then they wouldn't need to be in the burrito if they weren't being belligerent to someone somewhere at some point.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, why is the cops, like, I'm saying, if they
get, like, put out of a bar and, like, the cops get called, it's like, bro, get in the burrito and chill out.
Even if they're just, like, not doing anything anymore? But I'm just saying, I feel like for them to roll out the burrito, you gotta be like, oh, shouldn't you do the fuck you? Like,
I don't know if it has to be that intense.
No?
I don't know. I feel like sometimes you just need a burrito. Like, get in the burrito, bro.
No.
You're right. It probably isn't that way. But it's a de-escalation. Like, it's a...
Yeah, but you have to be escalated to be de-escalated.
Well, I feel like if you get kicked out of the damn bar and you're being belligerent and shit, you need to be de-escalated. Because you're drunk. And
so they are being belligerent.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But my question, because you then said it couldn't be that bad.
Oh, well, I don't know. What's my definition? I don't know. My definition of belligerence, like American belligerence, is like, you doing too much.
But in Korea, like Korean rage is a thing, though.
You think so?
No, it is. I've heard. I listened to David So, the Korean spokesperson. No, he's not the Korean spokesperson, but he's very Korean, Korean American, and he talks about like K-rage, and he has his other Korean American friends, and they talk about how and listen, I'm obviously not Korean, but they talk about how like in Korean, since they're so suppressed, like they have to be respectful. It's all about not getting in anybody else's way. The work culture, they're working all the time.
Why they need burritos.
Yeah, so like the drinking culture is like outright. Like everybody.
Have you ever had
I've never had a drink. Oh, that's right. I don't know why I just got embarrassed. But
everybody should only have one vice. That's my belief. Everybody should only have one vice. So I never knock nobody's hustle. Your vice could be smoking, eating, drinking, fucking. Like, as long as you got one. You fucking and drinking, you're doing a little too much. You're doing a little too much.
You're a little out there.
Reel it in.
Get them the burrito.
Lay the burrito out. Definitely, yeah.
But yeah, since it's such a tight culture, when they go out drinking, like, people drink, they, like, drink. So seeing, like, a belligerent guy or a guy being a little bit, like, too handsy on women, although it's not normal for their, like, normal cult, like, during the day, it's pretty safe.
Well, that's alcohol for everybody. It's a spirit.
Some people are happy drunk.
Well, it's a spirit, though. So, like, if they're usually suppressed, like, the spirit of the alcohol is going to turn them up. Like,
what do you think about, you're Christian, yes?
I believe in God.
Okay.
I would dare say I'm agnostic.
Okay. So what do you think about I don't know. It's depending on who you are, whether it's an ideal or not. Like for some people it's just like true, it's just facts. If that's your faith or spirituality or whatever. But when you're talking about drinking alcohol and drinking spirits, they say that literally it's opening a doorway up to like in you for spirits to come in, and that's why you get a lot of times people acting very different when they're drunk. Yeah, and saying and or doing stuff they would never do is because literally a spirit, they have opened a doorway for a spirit to come in and possess their body.
That's pushing it very far, in my personal opinion.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, as knowing when I was a kid, that sounded really solid to me. Mm-hmm. But as an adult who drinks, I think it's bullshit.
But do you get drunk?
I've been drunk. I've been pissy drunk, as in I've peed on myself drunk. Mm-hmm. I've been extremely drunk before, once, never again.
Do you remember it all?
I remember most of it, but there's a really big chunk missing, and I think it's because I passed out. Mm-hmm. So,
or you were possessed by a spirit, says this idealism.
I got really drunk. I passed out for a second. I'm guessing because I remember waking up on the couch and I remember like texting, like I need help, like somebody come get me. And then I remember the person who was supposed to come, like get me, came and got me. I remember peeing because it was warm. It was cold outside. And then I remember my brother was there. I got down in the car and I fell out. Mm-hmm. And I remember that too. Like I was in the car right side up, and then I started to lean over very slowly, and then my head hit the gravel, like the street. Mm-hmm. So I had like a huge bump on my head. But I was really, really worried because I thought about if that had been the case. Mm-hmm. Because, being raised that way, I knew like there was always a possibility that like if I get
they talk about
drunk,
that in church.
What don't they talk about in church?
Sex.
They talk about sex in church.
No, they just tell you not to do it.
No, they tell you like when I was in church, bro, they would tell us like, don't be laying around. You lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas.
Yeah, they just tell you
soul
not to
ties.
do it.
Yeah, I mean they don't talk about it like
they don't talk about it healthily. They don't say.
Well, no, but sex is not healthy in religion.
Sex is not healthy, but it is like even so. Okay, I listen to a lot of things, a lot of people, right? So I also listen to Belief in Fatherhood and, like I said, Kev on Stage, both from very Christian backgrounds and are still very Christian, and they often talk about how specifically, well, both of them, how after they got married, both of their wives, both of the men had sex before marriage. Period. The wives, though, didn't have sex before marriage.
Abstinence.
And they were saying how they wish that the church talked about sex a little more because the psychological thing about how sex is bad doesn't go away after you get married. After you
actually,
So when you start having sex, it's really hard for a woman and a man, a woman to not feel guilty about it because, you're constantly taught, a man's going inside you, you're carrying, like, you're constantly taught all that kind of stuff. And then the man feels guilty because he doesn't want to force himself on his wife.
And he probably feels guilty because the double standard.
Yeah. And so it creates this dichotomy that's still unhealthy after marriage. So even if they're not saying have healthy, protected sex before you're married, still talking about how sex in terms of it being a love and being this is something created by God and something meant for you to enjoy with the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with, and like stuff like that, and getting into like how to enjoy maybe sex with your spouse or sex with your and stuff like that. Like they don't really, from my understanding.
Well, no, because nothing's ever good. But in church, like nothing's ever good.
But that's the problem.
But the Lord.
But the thing is, the Lord, if you're a Christian, the Lord made us. So if the Lord made us in love, why would he want us to, why would nothing ever be good?
Yeah.
Why would we only be on this earth to suffer?
That's people for you. And like, that's why I don't go to church no more.
True.
That's people for you. People are going to do with religion what they can. Like, to bend it to their will. You feel me? Some people may never talk about sex. And then you look at some Christians who people are going to be offended we call Christians because they're out here starting sex cults. You feel me? I don't know, but it's a thing. You feel me?
Y'all started
Jim Jones, the man who drank the blue Kool-Aid.
I remember. That was a sex cult?
No, but it's a lot of stuff that if you use the name of God and if you preach, you feel me, people gonna follow you. And it could be for the end game of anything. Mm-hmm. So, not talking about sex and religion, I think it's just because it's bad. Just like we don't talk about even when they
bad.
I don't think sex is bad.
Okay.
And I
just want them to know that you're not saying it's bad because
I think sex is great. But I don't think there's just a lot of stuff that churches crusade against, even death, even on the terms of getting saved and how they paint that. Every single church service, they say you could go out of here, get hit by a car, a jet could fall from the sky and squish you. And they just put all this shit on you and encourage you, well, you need to be baptized in the name of the Lord. And the pressure is, I'm not gonna say who told me this, but the pressure is, somebody once told me, if you believe in God, you lose nothing. Because if you go up and there's a God, you're in luck. But if you go up and there's nothing, you lose nothing. So it's better to believe in something. Now, so I'm not gonna say who told me that. I don't get them in trouble. But that's somebody's philosophy about religion. But I just think it's too much. And I just think when we talk about Sunday saints and all this other shit, it's too much. It's too much of people, not enough of God. And that's my take on not necessarily Christians. I love Christians. I don't want Christians to be offended. God. You don't love God. What's wrong with you? But more so on religion and the way it's constructed and the way what it looks like to go in on a Sunday and be surrounded with these people.
And this isn't
who gonna talk
churches.
About you if you wear a skirt with underwear because you didn't want to be free balling in the house of the Lord. And I think that was my traumatic experience. After that, I was I'm done. I didn't want to not wear underwear in the house of the Lord. I just felt some type of way about not wearing it. But I knew if I didn't wear.
You was going to a church and they said you're not supposed to wear
underwear. So no, basically I went to church and I had a skirt on. And I knew if I don't wear underwear with the skirt that people would see my panty lines. But I had preferred people to see my panty lines rather than to not be wearing any underwear in church. It felt wrong. I don't know why. Probably because I went to church.
No, it's cool. Jesus know what you look like. God knows.
But that's the thing. I had a friend come on. I had a friend came in with a jogging suit, and her, her G-string was up a little bit. But instead of the person at the door saying hey baby, you might want to pull your shirt down a little bit. You talked about her behind her back. But that's not godly to me. But I think, you feel me? If you see something, say something. If it was that serious, why are you going to sit here and embarrass her and talk about it? When you could have stopped it at the door. You're the greeter.
Do you think this is a black church thing?
No. White churches. I work for a church organization, and it's just some stuff that I've heard about. I haven't been there long enough, but it's some stuff I've heard about that is just it's not okay. It's not okay. I would dare say, it's even worse. So I don't think it's just a black church thing. I think it's just a church thing, church people. Church people, that's what it is. So Christians, you feel me? Not all Christians are church people. Okay. So that's why I don't really have anything against Christians, but it's the ideology of religion and going to church that is just I kind of got away from that. I didn't want to be free ball. That really took me out. And then for somebody to have text my aunt and say she should never came in here like that. You didn't even have the human decency to just let me know. But that's another thing. If I had never had to get up because my grandmother made me guest usher, you feel me? Nobody would ever knew. I had a whole plan. I had a jean jacket and everything. I had a plan. You feel me? Because I knew either way I was going to feel wrong. But I had a plan. You feel me? Then my grandmother was come up here and do the offering. And I told her, I was no, my skirt, people can see my panty lines. And she was it's fine. Come on. And it was from that moment that the person and the church felt the need to text my aunt and say she knows she was wrong for getting up there like that. Wow. I don't appreciate it. I don't care. Church gossip, that's what really get me too. Y'all the same people that smile in each other's faces every Sunday, and then y'all go home and call y'all homegirl and talk about them. It's just so toxic. What I want to be around y'all people for? When I could be at home
watching
TD Jakes. Watching somebody that ain't you. But it's really no shade to pastors or anything. It's just I used to think that church hurt was silly and stuff, but it's disrespectful. You don't have the human decency. That's scary. For people to believe in God and not have human decency. to not have true kindness and to be able to speak up and say things to people, but you believe in God, right? That's real shifty to me and very scary. Like you really, I don't know. It's shifty,
I don't know.
I don't want to call nobody the devil, but it's very sketchy to claim you believe so heavily in somebody or in something that is such a great force and so full of love and so full of kindness and mercy and grace, and then you treat people like that. I treat people better without having known God, you feel me, than you ever did, and you claim to know him. So that's my spiel on religion.
And I didn't really grow up in the church like that, so that's on period. But yeah, I think honestly, we should end it right there because
let that sink in.
Yeah,
let that sink in, y'all.
Let it settle.
Let it settle.
With that being said, thank you for watching this video. If you got to the end of this video, I don't know what I'm doing with my channel. Well, I know what I'm doing with my channel. I'm literally doing whatever I want. But in terms of like these, I really do want to have like some sort of, I don't know if I'm going to call it Serious Sunday. I don't know what about it. I don't know if I want to call it Disagreements with Donnie. I don't know if I want to call it background noise, because you know how you put on like people talking or a podcast or something for some background while you're washing dishes, doing a chore, doing something at work. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but I really enjoy just talking to people. I think that everybody has something to offer. A lesson. You can learn a lesson from everybody you meet, period, I think. So thank you again for being on here. Thank you again for watching. Like I said, if you watched or stayed this long, I appreciate you. We appreciate you around here. Like, comment, and subscribe, or whatever YouTubers be saying. Yeah. Bye.
Peace out.